And so that evolved into, a Climate to Thrive wanted to apply for the USDA REAP grant, which they did.
What is that, REAP?
Can't remember, but it has to do with, energy efficiency. But there's more to it. But so I was able to get that. The Climate to Thrive was given physical sponsorship by the county commissioners, and although it wasn't an official vote, one of the commissioners blurted out that you keep that money focused on energy audits. Personally, I want them to do everything that they normally do anyway when they get that grant. So that grant was due on, it's due this Friday. And I was talking to the program manager yesterday, and he's all, agitated, I gotta get this grant done, and when it goes through, they will hire contractors, they will make connections with small businesses countywide to do energy audits and, remediation for when you need to upgrade your structure, your equipment, and so forth, through this USDA grant. So this was the first time that I can remember that I doubt if anybody else can remember that the county acted as a physical agent. I know we got an energy grant, but that was only to look at the courthouse. Back in 2011, there was a grant. And so now we have nonprofit out there, and that I consider part of, they're already on the planning list, but they're now also doing this climate resiliency type work. And so that was, to me, it took me 8, 9 months to get all that set up, and at least we have that much.
So I'm starting to feel exhausted.
Yeah.
The amount of energy you have put into this, I could see, is quite a lot, and the ability to focus on these things. So this is a piece. So if you would like to, I can show you this video from, you okay with wrapping up?
Head out, but anything else you need me on?
Do we need on anything else? Any personal requests?
No, thanks, you've been
questions?
very helpful.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And also, the idea that the county commissioners need support behind them. They need people to show up and come at important parts.
Yep, and I also got the meeting policy changed, and you'll probably read about this. A lot of it was not changed the way I wanted it, but now, if you want to make a public comment, you don't have to submit a document beforehand. Which I always thought was a restriction. I mean, public makes an effort to come to the courthouse, and they should be able to speak. And then we keep the clock 3 minutes, but you always had to submit show your intent before you showed up at the meeting. And I thought that was.
How do you know what the subject matter would be for any particular meeting?
Agenda?
For a public comment?
Yeah, no, for a meeting.
Well, each department has a manager or
That's all right.
unorganized territory supervisor. They bring their issues, they get them on the agenda. We make decisions, where they're gonna, what accounts they're gonna use, whether they should go ahead or not, if they're gonna put out requests for proposals. And everything has to run through us. Even the sheriff, if he needs to spend money, has to come through us.
But that agenda isn't publicized anywhere, is it?
It is, it goes, and that was, I would say, one of my biggest accomplishments was, when I took office, there was the minutes were just typed up and stuck in the manuscript book in the office. So now, each county, each municipal clerk and a list of constituents, whoever wants to get on that, calls the county office, hey, I want to get on that list. You get the meeting agendas, you get the minutes.
Okay, and
the
that's
approved
all
minutes.
on a website someplace.
And they're posted on the county website.
But you
Okay.
have to
But you can
request.
get individual emails of that information. So
Yeah.
that took a long time. That was horrible.
Like pulling teeth, it sounds like.
Before that time, it was just, the only people who really knew what was happening were the county commissioners and the staff.
And the select people.
One, single.
We now have a select people here.
Right.
So, hello, select
Sorry,
woman.
sorry.
And I was just gonna mention you all that we expect, us county commissioners expect your input. Whatever your issues are, let us hear it, and, we will act or notify you that we're unable to act.
What are some typical things that select people
That might go between
go
the
between
two.
the two groups?
Well, the budget, of course.
Budget.
We were just talking about the county planning commission, and you all appoint your county planning commissioners. What else would come to mind?
Well, I mean, the budget is obviously the biggest thing, and of course you have control of that, and, we have some possible input into it, but, that's the thing that drives it from our point of view. And, we're probably not going to get ourselves super well educated on the needs of the jail and the airport and so on. I did want to put a plug in, though. You have the best registry of deeds in the state, by the way, so, just so you know.
And the Office of Register of Probate is up for re-election as well
Is somebody
this
running?
year. I just say that to,
Try to find somebody to run.
Yeah.
just to get people thinking about it. So I had told Becky I needed to leave. Right, so the other thing she was gonna do was list the duties of the county commissioners from the website.
And show the movie from Betty Johnson,
Okay.
from Waldo County.
So Waldo County, as she explained, does not have a county administrator, and they're operating just fine. And we only had one for, it'll be 4 years in May. Otherwise, we were operating just fine, so.
Has it been improved?
To me, doesn't seem like, seems like,
necessary.
doesn't seem necessary.
Hasn't changed your job, you don't think, having a
It's,
county
it's,
commi-
I don't have to answer so many calls, but I'd like to answer calls. That's what I think I'm there for. But the county administrator that we have now, not the first one, but this one, is financially astute and can get through TRIO pretty well. He dictates
Good.
what the treasurer does. So that's of some assistance. But the treasurer should, I always feel, should just learn the system themselves. They should be trained by the staff and be the treasurer, collect the money, do the accounting
They should.
by law.
Sounds so reasonable.
It's not always easy to find somebody who has.
So the trick, that was another one of my big deals, was getting the elected county treasurer a full-time job, which she didn't have because there was an appointed finance director. And then when that person vacated, the next county treasurer got elected last year and was not a financial person.
Oh.
But you either have an appointed county treasurer or an elected one. The appointed one, you would expect, knows how to account and so forth. But my big influence on county government was that the elected one can also be trained by the existing staff and function just fine. And the Republican former county treasurer demanded her full-time position and that she had an elected successor, Democrat or Green or Republican. She wanted them elected. And she always reminded us of the 2005 countywide referendum that the choice was, should the county treasurer be elected or appointed? And it, 2-to-1, by 2-to-1 margin, elected county treasurer was the voters' preference. So it left it up to the commissioners, okay, this is what, the commissioners were the ones that put out the referendum. They wanted an appointed county treasurer. Voters didn't go for it. So the challenge for the commissioners became, how do you work the newly elected treasurer into the treasurer department?
Into the system, and so
Into
that
the
they,
system.
so that they're
So that
knowledgeable
the
and
law is
functioning.
that the treasurer keeps the books. Pretty simple. So how do you do that as a commissioner and you have somebody who doesn't, but the voters wanted it that way?
Do you
So-
think that's maybe because they weren't maybe well enough advised, and, you know, educated on the difference and what an important and technical sort of thing being a treasurer of any kind
It all
of
comes,
state is. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, it takes a lot of technical skill, and on top of that, on top of just having the technical skill, it takes the part where people have just the comfort and ability with numbers and finances, and
well,
are able to kind of see the big picture, the forest for the trees. you
there's
know.
more to it though. It depends on your accounting system. If you're using modified accrual, which we use, which I don't prefer, you make a lot of work for yourself.
Yeah,
If you did cash accounting, you might not have so much work, but depends on how much labor time you have to do the cash accounting. There's more reconciling and so forth. Right now, there's this, you know, resolved situation that it's gonna remain modified accrual, really good audit last year, and to me, I'd rather see something else. But you all are satisfied, they're the ones that keep the heat on us. And, you know, if they start hearing that our books aren't looking good, well, we hear it particularly from my towns of Mount Desert Island. And that's another thing, they have a league of towns, hopefully you can someday, you know, around solid waste. Your towns are already working together. How about a monthly or quarterly
yeah,
meeting?
we've actually been discussing that.
Good.
So that's something on the agenda. And I know, maybe you've already gone over this, and I apologize.
No.
I apologize, but
You're bringing a whole new vision in.
what was the big driver this year in the increase in the county budget?
Well, the county administrator's contract was something I voted against, but that's a big increase.
That was 8,000, right?
But I mean, it was a
No.
pretty substantial increase from last year.
A new deputy, which I opposed,
Mhm.
because I believe that the deputy who's teaching the DARE course could easily be, I don't know about easily, but why not use that deputy in a patrol car? Save us getting another car, and that's where the sheriff's jurisdiction comes in. He wants that DARE taught in the schools, and people I hear from don't think it's good, and so there, I say, use that deputy. So that's, another deputy is another 100,000.
Yeah, about 100.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
You know, we're doing the communication center expansion with community benefits. I made sure of that. It was a 6%. We gave, all of our non-union, that's another thing, dealing with labor unions as county commissioner, you have unions in town? So that's
Well,
another whole.
the school does.
Okay, but
And
I
that's the
mean,
big driver on our budget, so yes.
yeah. So when we have 3 different Teamster unions, we have county courthouse employee union, but they dissolved in 2009. So when the unions come in, they expect a certain amount, you know. So, and we also have to do the main PERS studies when we renegotiate.
Yeah.
We hired another full-time dispatcher, which I hope you appreciate. You know, it all adds up. I'd be glad to correspond with you.
No, I just was, you know, I
But-
didn't dig into it.
I would say
Because
that-
we do get the minutes, they do send those out
Do
regularly.
all the
so-
board members read the minutes?
I think so.
Yeah, because some towns, they don't even know that they're getting them.
No, we're pretty on top of it.
I'd be surprised.
That's good, yeah.
Just letting you know, we just try to keep
Nice
up.
to know,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So,
I did, and you know what, I actually asked them to stop sending it with they had a big overlay, you know, what, those watermarks that they put
Oh,
on
yeah.
the thing. Had this huge watermark on it, it was very dark, and I was like, can you just ask them to stop putting that, because I can't even read them. The watermark, and they did.
so, you know, the registrars, you know, they hadn't had salary increases,
Oh, yeah.
maintenance. When you get austerity in there, it's like, you know, people suffer, and you finally reach a point where you don't think they're gonna like quit, but you don't want them to quit anyway, so you think about increasing, and
Good.
all the part-timers and the clerical staff that hadn't had increases since way before my time,
Wow.
since their last contract in 2009, so we took care of them,
Good.
so.
Well, I mean, and mainly I asked, not because I think it's bad, but because at town meeting I like to be able to
Sure, I wish you
say,
would.
you know,
Yeah.
this is why.
So I'm really glad to meet
My name's Ellen, by the way.
Ellen
And you're Alan, right?
and
Antonio,
Antonio, sorry.
lazy.
to meet one of you from somebody that's not in my district, you know?
Yeah.
And to hear how you're thinking about things, you know? So, because I always hear it from my people. And the county commissioners should be hearing it from their municipal officers in their towns.
Well, I'll remind you about that too.
So thanks for all that.
Grilling.
Yeah. So,
Well, I'm ready to run.
okay.
Okay.
Which way, I'm not
See.
saying.
What is the area that your district, what towns is that comprised?
It's not Antonio's, it's District 1.
No, I know
Oh.
it is, but I'm saying, what's
Right,
your
it's
district
Checker.
composed of?
Antonio has to go. I think he has something important to do.
Yeah,
See you
but
later.
what's the answer? What's your district?
Oh, District 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
what are your
the
towns?
in
And
your
territory.
district?
Well, I could get there. So it goes from Blue Hill to Surrey to Ellsworth. There's sort of a straight corridor that way. And then it kind of zoops around. Does it do any? No.
Well, you have Otis,
Oh, it goes north then. from
Yeah,
there.
then it goes north, Otis and up to Mariahville.
and then you go into the territories.
And then
You have
into the-
Northern
there's-
Hancock
Okay.
Territory.
4 territory areas.
Were there like 50 registered voters?
I know,
There's actually.
But all that was another thing, never had fire protection on a consistent basis.
Right.
Solid waste is now all taken care of, I did all this, emergency responders. You know, people don't wanna do these things, because you tell me why county commissioners wouldn't vote for these things, for those people, those 50 people. Why not? It's $1,000 for a first responder contract, and then pay per incident, I mean,
Thank you.
So yours doesn't go off into Brooksville and that area, is that part of another one?
That's, that's 2.
Okay.
Antonio is 3.
Okay.
I have a complete list, but anyway, it goes down, take care.
I
okay.
hope you pick up East
Bye,
Blue
all.
Hill.
Thank you.
Yes, East Blue Hill and Surrey.
Surrey's exhausting.
And then
Ellsworth.
Ellsworth.
Ellsworth's a type, that's a tough one.
Ellsworth, there's 6,000 people there. Yeah, it will be. And then, somewhere, where's my bag? There's a list somewhere here.
So you don't cover all of Blue Hill Peninsula?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's-
And Surrey, Surrey, Ellsworth?
I think that would be unified, but.
Watching
Oh, well, they've been very interestingly divided.
Really?
With all these little pieces of paper.
The Ellsworth has its own problems recently,
Well, it's got some big growth issues.
Yeah.
that's for sure.
big growth. I was reading about it in the paper, fascinating.
Jackson Lewis is gonna be a huge driver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with 800 new jobs. Wow.
Oh, I don't know, I took it out.
Yeah.
It's around here.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
List
Oh, that's
of my
okay.
towns.
It's okay,
Oh.
Becky, I just was
We can
curious,
look it up.
because I was wondering if you were the peninsula, or if you were, or if it went in a
It's not the
different
entire
direction,
peninsula.
and it goes a different way.
Right, so it's sort of like it sort of goes like this, and then it goes down to Winter Harbor and up to Mariahville in the unorganized territories.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, and I think Hancock might be in there. I don't
So
know.
it goes north from Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's
And then-
There's a lot of
East.
land up there.
Sure
There's not
is.
a lot of population.
it's a
There's lot
huge
land.
amount of land, actually.
Isn't it the largest county in the country or something? It's like the largest
I don't
land?
think so.
Oh, okay.
The west.
Like the Ellsworth, like city or something?
It's
How far,
interesting.
what is that?
I looked at
Yeah,
it.
he's talking
There's
about
something.
Ellsworth.
Yeah.
That Ellsworth
Oh, it's
being
the largest,
Ellsworth is
it's,
the biggest,
Largest city area?
largest city or organized,
Right.
whatever in the, at least the state.
municipal.
Municipal.
Right. and-
Right.
It's actually the same size as London, to give you a.
Right.
Yes,
That's,
to give you
yeah,
an
something
example.
wild.
London is 44 square miles, I need to confine to it.
That's funny.
Yeah. I know I have these little odd facts.
Lots of room to grow.
And why do you know that? I drove all the way around. What else about it? So,
If you want to do like an energy resilience program, would we be talking to you to put a plan together to like bring a new
well,
technology?
from what I noticed
to the
about the
area?
commissioners, they are on the boards, like, again, if you all want to see this movie,
Yeah.
I'll put on.
Yeah.
Betty Johnson's on about 10 commissions, one of them being she controls the van for the Democrat Party, the state van and stuff. And Antonio knows the other things, the other commissioner down there is on a whole bunch of boards too. So I suspect that's part of the job, you know, if you want to be effective, is to get on these boards. So,
Yeah.
you know, I would certainly be looking at, I mean,
Mhm.
Climate to Thrive is sort of a big
Sounds like a good one.
number for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the, huh?
Do you want to play it?
Yeah, sure. And then local, if I can get it right.
I can help.
Oh, my God.
An audiovisual guy.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just turn the chairs around.
I just don't know about the projectors that we've got.
Oh, you push,
Yes.
you push,
Signature there.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I see, okay. And this is, okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Travis on here.
I have not dealt with it, going to sleep.
Just go ahead.
Okay.
I guess, because on these, yeah.
Yes, we may have to let it go up and come back down.
Definitely
Oh,
absorbed.
because it went to sleep.
Uh-oh.
Went to sleep.
I'm kind of hard to wake up sometimes.
Well, these bulbs don't like to be.
Are you pulled up now? Okay.
Okay, right, by the way, before anybody leaves, I bet Sarah has things to sign. Anybody who hasn't signed my petition?
Oh, I think I signed yours and I've got mine too. If anybody hasn't signed mine.
Oh, you need signing too? Oh, good. We
Yeah,
have a signing
lots of
fest.
signing, lots of signing parties, yeah, going on here, that's great.
And it's hard in the winter. You know, it's like, oh, door to door, it's dark.
Well, I would be willing to go to the farmer's market in the next
I
couple
can't go
of
on Saturday.
and I will set up a table for us.
I'm almost done, I just, you don't need very many for what I'm doing.
I don't either, I just need 50.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. The
So
first
if you-
time
Maybe you need to go wash
I know, I think I'm gonna go. I'm like a disaster every
your
time.
hair.
Oh, wow.
My pen that I offered started.
Oh, I know, they're trying to make it easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Was it for a moment?
oh, sure, there was some previous one.
Well,
Yeah.
just for a moment.
Take the space for when you're ready.
All right. So if everybody, if you want to pull up closer, move things around, is everybody happy?
This is sorry.
Is this an existential question?
Sure. I have to say, I'm not I'm a logistically challenged person. I have my pros and my cons, but.
Hi, my name is Betty Johnson, and I'm a county commissioner for Walden
And she's
County.
80 years old
I'm often
and just
asked
reelected.
what a county commissioner does. County commissioners oversee all the aspects of county government. I'd like to take you on a tour now and visit each department and let them tell you to preserve.
The neck is.
So all my volumes are up as high as I can get them.
We're hearing.
Okay, good.
Good morning, Commissioner Johnson. Welcome to Emergency Management.
Thank you. This is great. I'd like to have you show us around.
Sure, no problem. And here's our Emergency Operations Center. From here, we coordinate with all the towns and the state and the county and on preparing and responding to and recovering from disasters and emergency management.
I see you have a kitchen over there. Is that a special purpose?
Yeah, basically we can operate from here 24/7 with the support facilities that we have here. And then in here we have our communications center. Our volunteer ham radio operators work from here. And they help us to maintain contact with the state and the other counties. Usually we'll operate from the Emergency Operations Center if we have an area-wide disaster, ice storm or hurricanes along those lines. However, if we operate from a single location, we'll usually roll out on scene with our emergency response vehicles. And out here in the garage is our emergency response vehicles and our support equipment. We have trailers, and generators, and all those type of things that help us do our job. This is our radio truck here that our ham radio operators operate for us. They can actually operate on the go, communications. This is our mobile command post truck that we have here that we can support the incident commander with, and that may be the sheriff or fire chief or EMS service chief that we're using here.
You want a ham radio, you have to change Patrick Mullen from Republican to Democrat, because he's really.
Well, this is where we would operate from in an emergency. We have a desk here and here that we operate, and we have a radio station down there. We put a lot of communications in here, from satellite to radio to cell phone. We have hotspot with internet. We can set up radios and repeaters, and we have a lot of support equipment to help out the incident commander with.
It's probably an operation.
That's great.
Yeah.
Commissioner Johnson, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our 911 center.
Thank you.
Fine.
I'd love to have you show us around.
Why don't we go into the conference room, training room first? We start in here. This room is set up for training. It's also set up for testing, which we were doing earlier today. It's a multi-purpose room. It also has our kitchenette, and we have in-house training in here. This is, as I say, a combination of my office and then the supervisor's office. And Supervisor Larrabee's on duty today, and he's working on some projects for us. Then we're going to the equipment room, which is really the brains of the operation, and see what's in there. Betty, let's look this area over in here. This is where the computers all tie in up here on the hill, and we'll explain all of this to you and get a good idea of what's going on. Behind you is the interface for the radio system. This ties us into all of the radios and transmitters, which is over in the EMA building and over the tower. This is a bunch of cables running underground over to the communication center. This ties all of the operations on the hill, the sheriff's department, the jail, EMA, and us, as well as the city of Belfast, through a dedicated cable system. It ties all the computer systems together. Everything on top of the hill comes through here and goes out of here, underground, all over to the other building. Over here is the 911 equipment, which the state owns. That's bought through charges on the cell phones and landline phones. So that's all equipment for 911. That was just recently installed. These are battery backups for that system. Betty, let's go into the radio room. We'll go out here. This is where all of the calls are taken, where all of the departments are dispatched. We have 4 positions out here that are equipped with 911 and radios, telephones. We have to be a little more quiet out here because they may be busy on the phones. I could explain each of these screens to you if you'd like. What we have here is this is a touchscreen radio. It can be used either by touching or it can be used. This is our link to the state, the teletype. The screen there, the center screen. When we have a 911 call here, where does it go? It didn't go into a place like this.
It's some, actually,
Two
they have,
screens to the left, to all the 911.
we
Okay.
actually
One
have
is
a
The same
disaster
thing.
coordinator
I didn't know.
in St. Pete, and when he came over and gave us what they have.
Yeah.
It's really quite impressive.
dispatch lights.
Yeah, we have a similar setup.
Say the four
You
would,
know, you wouldn't think it, because they never mentioned the teacher thing, but
Right.
American, you know, it's Korea.
and we have clear dispatch on to
But it's like located elsewhere.
It's in Ellsworth, but yeah, just like this is in Belfast.
the. Well, Betty, that kind of wraps up the whole center out of the radio room. Glad you came up today.
Services
It's
are,
over.
you
It
know,
was very impressive.
Sure.
Thank you for taking your time to do this.
You're more than welcome.
And, I'm sure it's going to be very
Yep.
interesting.
Well, come see us again.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Morning, Commissioner Johnson.
Hi, Sheriff.
How are you today?
Good, and you?
Good. Real good.
I was wondering if you could show us around.
Sure.
The department, show us the various things.
All right. This is the Chief Deputy's office. So it is a very nice building. We're very lucky to have it. Right across the room here, the hallway here, we have the reception office. We have 2 full-time receptionists handling the civil process division. They handle all the court paperwork. They take customers that come in, every day. All kinds of different things that they do, and they assist the deputies in a lot of different administrative duties. Next, down here on the left, we have the patrol lieutenant's office. He handles not only the patrol division, but he also manages the detective division. Now, the next room we have here is a secure area. It's our department armory. It's where all of our weapons are stored. And we have ammunition here also. And we have a department armorer who, this is his workbench. He handles repairing our weapons and things of that sort. So it's a pretty, this is new. We didn't have this in our old building, so this is very nice. And then next down here on the left, we have what we call our evidence prep room. And this is the room,
It's a huge building.
this is the room where incoming evidence is brought in by all the deputies that work here at the sheriff's office. And it has to be processed. There's paperwork that has to be done. They have to be tagged as evidence. And then it's left. And then the evidence technicians, which are detectives, they're responsible for doing more paperwork, processing. They may be analyzing fingerprints. Once the evidence is processed here, we move it from the evidence prep room into the long-term evidence storage area, which is this room. Here, this evidence is currently processed and waiting for the case to go through the court system. Once it's through the courts, then the evidence is returned to its owner or disposed of, whatever the purpose. Now down this hallway, we have another evidence-related room. It's a vehicle bay, so if we have a vehicle that's involved in a